Welcome back to the Shared Practices podcast. I have with me today the president of IT Harbor, Josh Wallace. Welcome.
Hey, thanks. It's good to be here.
So I'm really looking forward to this conversation because technology, IT support can totally bring us to our knees or make us have the greatest operation ever. It feels like there's no in between sometimes in dentistry. So I think what you guys do as an IT support is so important for dental practices and really making sure you have the right company in place to help you with all things technology. Tell us a little bit about how you guys got started and where you help dentists in particular.
Sure. Yeah, we've been around since 2018. The dentist game just kind of grew organically. We were doing just overall IT for quite a few years, right? I mean, it wasn't necessarily the niche of, hey, let's just start out as a dental IT company. And what happened is we ended up just doing a few new builds. Someone just said, hey, man, do you guys do new builds for dental? We're like, well, I mean, it couldn't be too much different. So, about 5 years ago, we got into dental. And then from then on, we just ended up transitioning more and more because we understood the practices better. We understood that this niche product and it's just kind of different compared to the rest of the world of just general IT. Dental has its own nuances. And so we said, okay, if we focus on this and we can get going and hopefully be a different IT company compared to what's out there, because everybody was always with the same people for a very long time. And so I didn't want to be that. I wanted to say, okay, how can we be someone that has a better support system that is future driven, that can bring in the new technologies, that can partner with everybody around you, be agnostic. And so from then on, we really just have grown a lot in the last few years just because of that. I think those pure aspects of the growth mindset.
Well, and that's exactly what I wanted to ask you about was I think sometimes we're trying to decide, do we need a dental specific company that knows the nuances of our industry for all these various outsourcing needs that we have, vendor relationships that we have to build? So in your experience, what makes dental practices different than maybe other industries that you service?
Well, the technology alone, right? I think in dental, what happens is they get left behind. A lot of times I see a lot of dentists that have used the same technology for 20 years. And are getting behind because of we talk about AI and we talk about all the new products that come out every year. Right now, a lot of the new dentists are doing like 3D modeling, right? And the CBCTs and all this new products that if they feel uncomfortable if they don't have someone next to them to help them get through that transition. And so if you just go with a regular dental IT or a regular company without a dental IT, then a lot of times they just don't know that, okay, well, we need to make sure you have enough data cables and rewire your building. And then, there's certain products you want to go with because they have issues or this product that hasn't done very well. If you don't have that, a lot of times they're so overwhelming. A lot of dentists, that's the main thing I hear is they're just overwhelmed. They wish they just had a to Z track to go and just, okay, what do I need to buy? How do I need to do it? And so if you're not dental specific, you're just going to go down a path by Googling it, right? Or you're going to go down a path of what you've heard, or a lot of times, a lot of IT companies get paid by other companies to sell their products. We don't do that at IT Harbor. We just, we're agnostic and we want to make sure that our clients have the best. So I think that's the main thing is you want to make sure people understand the industry or else you'll just get a very generic dental office.
Absolutely. And because you're seeing the same scanners and printers and everything too in your practices that you already serve, you've maybe already troubleshooted for some of those issues along the way. So by the time a newer client or someone who just purchased this piece of technology is coming to you with an issue, you can already go, oh, I've dealt with this before. Like it's very dental specific to, the brands and the different issues that you faced. And you're able to make recommendations solely based on just the ones that have the least amount of issues and seem to be the most effective.
Right. Yep. 100%. And that's the thing is, even when I do these podcasts and I talk to people, it's no one wants to deal with it, right? No one's going to call me and say, I love IT Harbor. I love you, Josh. We understand that, these podcasts and people listening are like, oh, IT, that's like the bane of my existence. And so for us, it's okay, but we want to make that pain point very little. All of our clients have my direct number. I mean, still to this day. And so, and I think that's kind of the change too with having a dental specific is because then they can understand that, hey, I can reach out to someone. It doesn't have to be a bad experience with IT. And so, I think that's another point of to remember is that if you have just a regular one, it's just going to be a regular IT that's also a pain point. And we don't want to
Hmm.
be the pain point.
And I love that you are available across the board to anyone, anywhere. Your services are remote, right?
Both. Yep. So we do both and on site throughout the US.
Okay, great. So, because that's always a question that I have too, even when I'm trying to help, decide who to go with IT. I remember managing a practice in Seattle. We were very fortunate that we had a small company. He had worked for a previous IT company and then went and did his own thing, and he knew our practice like the back of his hands, and he came in person, and would help us whenever things went south. And I think sometimes if you're lucky enough to have really good local support, that can be the best thing, right? Someone that can come on site. But I also have, so many of our listeners that are in rural areas or just that don't really have anyone that comes top recommended. So where are you available on site? And then how does it work when you are remote?
Yeah. So with the technology now, I mean, if we can fix 98% of the problems back end. And so when we set things up, we have our systems have an alert system on them. And we tie everything into our firewall to make it to where we can, if your internet goes down, we get an alert. If there's a computer problem, we get an alert. It allows us to fix 98% of the problems without the client knowing. And I think that's what most clients want, right? Sometimes that kind of hurts us, believe it or not, because we have some dentists that call me and say, I don't know what you guys do for me. Like, hey, we've been paying, and are you worth the money? And so we have to pull up the tickets and say, hey, look, this is what we do. But we can fix that. But yeah, throughout the US, there's still, with our pricing, on site's included. So if you need someone on site, because there's always little problems. What happens if something completely goes out and you have to have someone? There's always someone available to you, in all throughout the US.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay. I think another big question I get that will probably resonate with our audience is just the ever changing. And again, this is the boring stuff that no one loves, but we have to be on top of it. HIPAA compliance and just making sure everything is secure, cybersecurity threats, things like that. How often are those coming across your desk these days?
Well, new builds and the new setups, once we install all of our products, not as much. We have some of the best cybersecurity products that come with when we install our firewalls and our access points. And we do an inventory check and make sure that every single thing that touches your network runs through us as well. And so we, knock on wood, I haven't had a single incident in the past 3 years.
Wow.
But
Wow.
we spend a lot of money making sure. Now, it's not saying that couldn't happen, but a lot of times too, we have had a few incidences where, there's been some cybersecurity threats or someone's trying to break into something. And luckily our firewalls have been able to catch it, or it catches it at one computer. So we've had to replace maybe, you know, one of the firewall catches it before it spreads, or it hit a computer, but then we caught it. So it didn't spread anywhere. And so it didn't actually get into the systems. And so luckily for us, they weren't able to get any information out of it. But it's huge because what can happen is it can take you down, right? And there's a lot of cyber bullying as far as these people who get in your systems, they'll lock your systems down. You got to pay them money to open it. And so luckily for us, we haven't had a single incident up to this point. And I think that's just because all of our products are extremely secure. Now there's still problems. People click on things. But once again,
Mhm.
with our firewalls and things like that, it hasn't been a big problem. But if you're an old system and you're not with a dental specific and you decide that you want to save every penny you can, it's all gravy and no one ever thinks about it until it happens to them. And then you got to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to get all your systems back by a hacker.
Right. So, what are some practical steps that we can take to protect ourselves just initially if we're starting at ground zero?
Yeah. So let's talk like if you're a dentist or if you're a hygienist or a front desk, don't ever, ever, ever click on an email. And it's so funny because we always say that, like, hey, yeah, I know we're not supposed to click, but they're getting smart. Um, these hackers are smart people. They end up sending something. They'll send an email that'll say Caitlin at sharedpractices.com, but in shared practices, it could be like there's an SHA and then an M or an S. Like it's just off enough that if you're not really looking at it, they mask it. So people assume it's coming from you. Right. And so you just got to be, I think that's the number one vulnerability is people are now starting to mask emails to make it look like, because they even say your name up top. They know who you are. So they'll say, this is from Caitlin, right? And they think it's you. And so you just got to really make sure that you're reading those emails. Don't ever click on something. And another thing is even if it's coming from Caitlin at Shared Practices, if it's got a PDF that says now put your login information in here to log in, that right off the gate, you should never click on anything that says I need you to log in. And you'd be
Okay.
surprised. We get hit all the time with that.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the biggest
Okay.
one right now.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen it actually recently. I've had offices send me an email and I can see it wants me to log into like Microsoft Outlook and I'm going, no, I don't have a Microsoft Outlook and that's a red flag. And so no, I those are the kinds of things. It's just the clicking. And if you have the right IT protection in place and you have a team that's doing this behind the scenes, that's I think the best thing you can do because we're human and we're going to be busy and we're trying to get through our emails and sometimes we've got 10 and we're just trying to address everybody. And so if you're recognizing that name, you might slip up. You might have your mind in a million places. So I think the best thing it sounds like is, having that set up behind the scenes where there's firewalls in place, where there's these added layers of security, right?
And I think training, right? So that's what we offer training too. We send out emails, I don't know, once or twice a month. And it says, hey, here's an invoice. I would like to pay it from an email. As soon as you click on it, it'll pop up and say, hey, this is your IT team. That was not what you're supposed to do. And so I think you just have to continually train that, hey, just remember to always stay vigilant in this because once again, it's never a big deal until it's a huge, there's no in between with that type of stuff. It's either massive or you don't think about it ever.
That's fantastic that you have that built in. So how many clicks do you normally get?
We get quite a few. You'd be
Yeah.
surprised. Yeah,
Yeah.
we get a lot of the same culprits. They don't ever learn.
Oh, like they've
Like,
already failed the test once, so then
well, if you
yep,
fail,
yep,
I'm going to do it again to you
yeah.
because I want to see if you learned anything. And you'd be surprised how many times it's like 10 in a row. It's like, man, your building's been hacked 10 times now. So
Well, and no one is safe. Like I think sometimes the dentist is the one clicking, right? Because it's just we're
they're
trying to
actually
get
one of the
through our
worst. The
Okay, I
dentists
love that.
themselves
I
are the one
love
of the
it.
worst, even more than the front desk because the dentists are just trying to get through things. They're not, that's, oh, this is the front desk job. So I'm just going click, 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 click. And
Right.
I'd say 80% of our problems is the actual dentist who loves to click
Hey,
on things.
you're hearing it here first. Make sure you have protections, for your own sometimes mistakes that we all make. I think that's really good advice. And I love that you do those tests and the constant training because that's going to be the best way. And technology is so ever evolving. We're all trying to keep up and they'll continue to get more savvy, I think. So I think that's great that the consistent training is in place. And I guess along those sentiments, AI is
Mm.
constantly evolving in our industry, and everyone's wondering how is this affecting dental? What are some of the positives? What are some of the negatives? Do you have any insight to share? Maybe like some cool things your clients are doing with AI that you've
Sure.
helped with, or maybe some downsides that you want to share?
This is a fun conversation if you go down this route too, especially in IT, because we see all the new products all the time. So this is fun. There's a couple of products that I would say, first of all, don't be fearful of it. A lot of dentists, there's a lot of things out there, especially, I don't know why, but dentists love Facebook. I think Facebook stays alive because of dentists. I really do. Like, we love, we as dentists and working with the dentists, like we love that community. And so don't believe everything you see on Facebook, right? You're never going to lose your job, but you could significantly hurt yourself if you are not on the cutting edge. Okay. If you are an old school doctor, old school dentist, and you decide, I'm not going to keep up with the trends, you will fail. And that is my guarantee to you. Like what we're seeing with all these new builds and all these people are coming in and really living in this AI world and knowing that there's going to be some things coming out. The people that are like, nope, I mean, just people love me as my dentist. That's great. But if you ever sell it or die, or if your new product comes out, you're going to fail. You're never going to be able to move to the next level without the latest coming out. And so a few products, there is one out there that can do a lot of the hygiene by itself. There's a robot out there. Now, that's a big one. We're seeing that. I've only seen it once, where it actually goes onto the mouth. It can do a full cleaning and it can really kind of speed up the timing. Now, a lot of hygienists would say, well, I don't want that because I had to ruin my job. No, that's going to be more for your off room. That's going to be for your overflow. That's going to be for your help. See, so you got to be able to change your mindset of, I don't want it to take my job. Well, it'll never take your job because people like to talk, right? I want to know my dentist, my hygienist. But there's a new product out there that really does. I went to the CES and I went to these conferences with this product there, and it is very slick. It makes it to where the client can sit back. You put this on, it'll do all the cleaning. It can do everything all in one, and nobody touches it. So that's a big down the road product, just to kind of help your viewers understand where a lot of these robotics are going. I don't think you need to fear it. I do think it can help out a lot, especially maybe some oral surgeons. There's a lot of new robotics. If you know the medical world, a lot of robots do a lot of the surgeries now, right? With the help of the dentist or the doctor. I think now, if you go back to, let's talk realistically right now, what I can do to help my practice. I think AI charting, perio charting, note charting, anything to make productivity quicker. We see that in a lot of new offices. I think that's a great one. I think we see a lot of partners too, like with the 3D imaging, right? And there's a lot of companies out there now starting to do that. That's AI. I think that if you go to those companies as well that have like the AI assistants, like when someone calls in, you're seeing that hit a lot quicker, right? Where we don't need as many people to answer phones because you can get someone, either AI or someone from another country, to come in and answer these phone calls for you and do that. But I really love those type of products in the future. I love the AI charting stuff. I think for hygienists and dentists to have to do their notes, now you can just put a mic on right here. You can just start talking. It'll do the notes for you. Your perio, the same thing. You start talking, saying what it is, it'll do it for you. That's all AI. Now,
Yeah.
great products. The problem with great products is it's so funny because I see a lot of salesmen always come to us and be like, hey, talk your clients into this because it's great, right? Because they know that, guess who's got to install that? That's going to be us, right? Who's going to back that product up? That's us. They rarely call the actual product. They usually call us, so we then call the product and we fix it. So my only advice, if you go down this route, is to actually use it. We have noticed that a lot of dentists get this beautiful new products out and they don't use it. What happens is it's too hard, or it's a learning curve, or, oh man, I forgot to use it. And then you're just spending money on products that end up just sitting there and gathering dust, and you're not actually utilizing it to make you more productive. Because that's the goal for dentists. That's the goal, is let's make money, let's be productive. In order to do that, you need to utilize a lot of these products, because you might be spending a little bit, but you're going to get way more productivity out of it without having to do your notes and your perio charting and all that at the end. And I think that's probably the now of how I would use AI.
I love that response. And I couldn't agree with you more about using it as a helper. Essentially, putting you into editor mode is, I think, its core function, so that you, as the human being with the license, in front of that patient, can spend your time actually building rapport and educating and telling that patient what that actually means. And I think that those practices of mine that are really starting, I'm just now starting to see it. I have one or two that are doing the chart notes automation.
Mm-hmm.
I remember trying to put in automated perio charting back in 2018, and it was a total mess. I don't think the technology was there at the time, or maybe it was user error, but it was myself and a hygienist trying to see if this is something we wanted to implement in the practice. And at the time, I didn't see the value. It was causing more problems than not, but I think we're totally there now where, for me with perio charting, the important thing is that the patient's still hearing the numbers said out loud, because that really helps with that conversation after the fact of, you wanted to hear ones, twos, and threes. When you're starting to hear fives and sixes, that's a problem, so I think there's value in speaking into that microphone and still having that experience. But, you're not pulling an assistant, or you're not taking your own time to have to, record those numbers. I hear so much from both dentists and their assistants and hygienists about, well, really the whole office, notes being an issue. Front office is frustrated maybe because the notes aren't ready for us to attach narratives and send claims on time. Dentist is frustrated because they sit down at the end of the day and notes haven't even been started. There's no editor mode. It's just, now I have to start from scratch. And back office is frustrated because they're doing a million things, running such a busy day, that notes is the least of their concern. And so these are the types of things that are easily automated, that are going to be high impact and allow the real physical human beings in your practice to do what only human beings can do in terms of patient experience. And it just speeds that up. And so that's where, I think using AI as your helper and not being so afraid of it taking over, it's easier said than done. And I get that, from my lens, I offer coaching and there's a lot of questions that can be theoretically answered by AI, I think in any field. But what I try to do is kind of take that information and use it as a platform for now we can have a more nuanced conversation because you're educated on this topic as well. Maybe technology has helped you get there. So we're already talking about the solution and versus me having to explain the root cause of the problem.
Sure. Yep, and that's great. That's a great way to put it. I mean, the customer experience is what is going to set you apart. I think that's what it is. To allow me as a dentist is to talk more and get things done quicker and actually build a rapport. I think technology, I mean, if you look at when I was young, you had x-ray charts. Now you have full 3D, you can model it. It just gives that experience to the client of, I mean, how much better I'm in a futuristic dental office to where they're going to really be able to catch something, unlike these old school dentists that you're like, man, this is the same thing that you've been doing
Mhm.
for 100 years. And so, yeah, I agree with you 100%.
One of the first areas I saw AI in dentistry was going into conferences and seeing the pearls and the overjets, with radiographs. And now these companies are offering what you and I are talking about too, with chart notes and everything, which is great. But sometimes I think the initial response was patients won't trust this. They will think that it's being aggressive. And I heard George offer a different take on this podcast, and I think it makes total sense where actually patients trust the AI more than they necessarily do the human being in some regards because they're trusting the AI to be completely objective with the data. And I think that's such a good mindset shift. It's a balance. You need both. Ultimately, you want the doctor pulling up those x rays and making the final decision. But it really helps when there's something other than just the dentist that the patient may have a bias about why that dentist is recommending treatment, some preconceived notions about that. And actually, the AI can help you build trust with your patient if you think about it that way.
100%, because what happens is I've gone to dentists where they said I had a cavity and then I go to another and said it's not there. That's a perfect example of don't trust me then, because I think sometimes some clients, they like you could feel like, hey, maybe he's trying to upsell me. He needs a new BMW. Maybe, I don't know. He wants to go on vacation. He needs to do more crowns. Well, if you have AI doesn't lie, right? AI is going to tell you this is here, A, B, C, or D. Like this is what's happening. And so if you as a dentist can say, hey, look, you don't have to trust me. Just trust these pictures. Like this is showing exactly where it is. Um, George's point on that is 100% accurate, because then there's no way to go. You can't rebuttal that.
Yep. Yep. So I just wanted to make sure that we touched on this because I know a year from now, 2 years from now, 2 weeks from now, probably this will be something new on the horizon. And we're all kind of trying to keep up and kind of figure out what's realistic to implement in my practice right now. So I think key takeaways, if you're starting at ground zero, would be chart notes, perio charting. For me, I would definitely recommend the AI over the radiographs itself.
Oh yeah.
That's also helping with insurance processing too and everything. So,
Yep, I agree. Yep, and we're always here, and that's what's great. As the IT company, we have to do the same thing you dentists have to do. If we're not constantly trying to get better, don't you think AI could take over my company very quickly if we're not
right.
the ones actually running the show? So we understand the fear of it, but man, if you're a new dentist, you got to get on board, because it makes the practices very different. You go look in these new ones; it's a spa. It's beautiful compared to the
Mhm.
old school dental industry. So I think we're heading the right direction. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And I think it's just important to have the right team on your side to help you navigate and make sure you're doing it the right way. And right now, the kind of old school practice, as you say, it still has a market. There are still a lot of people that want that, but I think that's going to change year over year as the norm becomes more of these high tech offices. And so it's going to be maybe a slow burn, but eventually you don't want to be completely left in the dust.
100%. Can I tell you a story about that real quick?
Yes, please do.
I visit a lot of clients just to kind of check in on them. And there's a client that has a very old demographic. Okay. That's what it is. And we were able to sit down, even watching your clients, the older base. And so when you talk about the older base, they were struggling with an iPad signing in, right? I mean, they were struggling with that. So I understand as a dentist sometimes to be like, hey, look, I can't give them too much. But the thing about that is this dental office isn't preparing and they're not prepping for the clients now, right? They're prepping for the client, the next generation, the next 5 to 10 years, because in the next to 5, 10 year client, they were even the older, I'm talking, that are 60 now, they know technology, right? And so they're just, if you need to continue to build it because the world itself is becoming, as much as I don't have to do, that's what I want to do. So that's why AI is taking over a lot of stuff, is because a lot of people want to say, what's the easiest route? Which sounds terrible, but it is a fact. If I can go to my dentist and get everything done faster, I'm going to do that. And I
Yeah,
think that's where these
absolutely.
dentists are prepping for. But this AI and all the new
Mhm.
things is just same with the modeling and doing all your teeth in house as far as a 3D. I think
Mhm.
that's the other part, just to get everything in and out. Hey, you can come in and get a full set of teeth before you walk out. You imagine that even 7 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. And
Absolutely.
so that technology is the stuff that just needs to continue to grow.
And we have to grow with it. And it kind of speaks to as well maybe the fears behind putting AI on the phones or on the scheduling component, even the insurance verification component. That's another area we have to touch on with. Oh, so much busy work that hopefully can just be reduced, never completely removed. There always will need to be a human being, whether that's on site or remote, that is, I think, overseeing that. Now, maybe in 10 years, I'll say differently, but we're at a place where it can significantly reduce the workload of insurance verification and inputting that into the software, but oversight is still required in making sense of that, making sure it's looking good. To your point about the demographic and the consumer is getting to a place where the least they have to do, the better. I think it's similar in the sense of our tolerance for response time and we want things now is just that's only getting more and more severe. So we expect our insurance to be verified ASAP. We expect the phone to be answered. And I think down the road, not having like some sort of AI support, whether that's over the phone or a text message that goes out via AI to the patient afterward, if you missed the call after hours, that tolerance for, oh, they'll call me back Monday morning instead of getting to cancel my appointment or reschedule my appointment Saturday morning with I think 5, 10 years from now, people will expect that automatic response. So it's like you kind of got to start dabbling there.
Totally agree. Yep. I mean, look at even in my job and where we're at with helping dentists, right? I mean, we're a 24/7 company, and we have a dedicated engineer. So we have 30 clients per engineer. And so they know and understand that. So when someone comes in, they expect now, right? And we're born on the now. IT has to get things done now.
Yes.
If we're down,
Everything's an
we need it
emergency.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything's an emergency all the time. And
Yeah.
so, but that same type of mindset is just continues to spread in every aspect. If I buy something on Amazon, I'm paying extra to get it that day. If I go into dental, I would love to go in. I don't want to go in and you just have to give me a model and have to come back, because I probably won't, especially the mindset now, right? Is so this AI and the technology and all that's doing is just making the process quicker, which is good for you as a dentist too, because that means you're also getting your money quicker. It's easier for you because you're getting less no shows, right? Because you're getting people in that just need to go in one time and then out. And so it's a win-win as long as you can hang on to it, as long as you're good at the learning curve and learning all these new processes and willing to open up to these new processes. I tell you, I put my money on the next 5 to 8 years. If you don't, you will see a significant decrease in clients. They'll go somewhere else. The loyalty eventually runs out when they see everybody else has a wonderful spa-like experience, and how come I don't?
Right. Right. That's a good point. So as we sort of wrap up, what would you like to share with our listeners just kind of about the IT Harbor service package, what that entails and how they can learn more?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's great to be on the show. It's good to be that I am shared practices partners and been able to be with them and help a lot of your clients. And we've been able to help quite a few clients that have come through you guys. And so we appreciate that. And I think as far as for us is if you're looking for an IT company that's nationwide that can not only just do your day to day, but also new build, also future proof in your office. We sit down, we can model out everything of, hey, what's your vision of your office, right? Or how can we slowly implement things to come through? IT Harbor really is the best in the game in that. we really work hard to make sure that you are set up for the future, that you're set up how your goals and how you want to hit them. We can make plans together. And then when it comes to the service part of who we are by far one of the best priced companies for the services we provide. Very few can beat the price point and the service we provide. You get a dedicated engineer with us, which is great. So when you call into us, you're not calling 1-800-HELP ME. You're not calling into, some random person has to make a ticket and then they have to call you back. No, when you call in as my client, you're getting your dedicated engineer. 30 clients, that's it. After that, we hire another one. So he will be there, or his backup on the weekends, because we're 24/7. We will be there at all times for you. And that makes a huge difference for a lot of our clients. We understand that you can still get frustrated with us, but they love that they can call someone. They love that, hey, no matter what, at least I'm getting a hold of somebody.
Right. They know my problem. Yeah.
Right. And so, and because we keep it small, they also know who you are. Oh yeah. Hey, I already know this. It's not, it's more that slow hometown feeling, but within a big company. And so that really is what sets us apart, is the fact that you get that kind of service at a great price point, but we're very futuristic in the way that we run our systems, the way that we try to model all the new builds we do. And so you're in really good hands. And at the end of the day, I don't know how long I'll be able to make this last, but every one of my clients, like I said earlier, they have my phone number as well, which I try to at least talk to my clients once a quarter. I go visit them, and just to make sure, hey, is everything going well? We do Teams calls just to make sure, sit down, what's next. So I just accomplished one in Florida. That's what we did. We went through each office, and just to kind of see, hey, what are we trying to do with this office? And we mapped out the whole office. So that's the kind of stuff that you get that I think a lot of these other IT companies just don't offer. It's just that level of excellence a little bit higher. So if you want a good price point and you want someone that can take care of you, we would love to help you.
Well, I really appreciate you bringing this to the industry, this availability, because it is so needed. A lot of us are looking around going, we need IT help, but we don't know who to help us. So I'm really proud that we have a partnership with you all, and can offer that solution. And hopefully our audience learned some tidbits today listening, whether it's about, common security issues or all of the fun AI transformation that's coming our way. Where can people reach out if they want to learn more from you?
itharbor.com. It's us. There's an assessment form there. So you can just click up top, get a quote. It'll come to our sales rep, but then it comes to me. So I also meet every single new client on the first one you talk to. And I do that on purpose because I want to filter out. I want to let them know who we are. And then, of course, the salesman can take over and give you the quote. But every first interview or first appointment goes through me. You can reach me at josh@itharbor.com as well if you want to email me. And yeah, it's real simple.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll see you all next time on the Shared Practices Podcast.
Resonate.